get her take on the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Anne, how's the day going?
Going great, Joe. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. I can't wait to hear your journey into the industry as well as your thoughts on the NBA finals here. How did you get started?
Yeah, definitely. I coached a lot of sports. Played a lot of sports throughout high school and then college, and then I went into coaching. I coached softball and swimming, really mostly for the last 10 years or so. And pretty much when it comes down to that is, as a coach, you're trying to always put together the best strategy to win the team. And I pretty much came up with my own analytics that really has I found very useful for sports betting. And so I do a lot of those analytics on my own, and I've had much success with sports betting. I started going out to Vegas 21. I am in New Jersey, but sports betting was not legal and not legal yet during that time. So I was making trips out to Vegas, and next thing you know, I was staying out there longer than I anticipated. I had a couple of people, they wanted to start, following me, wanted me to share my betting structure and everything like that. And that's pretty much how I got started, and I built up. And, lately for the past 9 years, I'm going on 9 years, I've been taking just private clients, and I do, my main sports are really just basketball, football. We had just spoke about Australian rules.
Yep.
And so I love totals and spreads. I'm not much of a prop person, but when I see something, I definitely will say it.
Oh, I love it. So what is your favorite sport to handicap then?
Definitely by far, I would say college basketball. I've always been pretty decent at that. Anything basketball, even like European League, I'll do. Anything basketball related, I love. But my favorite is definitely, it's a toss up between the college and NBA. I love them both. I love following these kids and then seeing some of them make it to the NBA. So it's kind of more like my heart is there.
Okay, now who are your teams, and do you bet for your teams or against your teams, or do you just stay off of them?
That's a great question. So we have a rule in my house. We're never allowed to take the home team. And when we do, we usually do bad. So we try not to bet on our home teams. My teams are obviously the Sixers, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I'm sure. And I do love the Tar Heels. I am the Nova fan as well. I love LaSalle, St. Joe's. So it's just I guess my where my heart is would be Nova, and so it's just with Jay Wright leaving now, it's been a little bit tough, but I'm looking forward to what the team has to offer for the future. So we'll see what happens.
What do you think was the biggest disappointment with your Philadelphia 76ers this season?
Really, honestly, and I'll probably talk a little bit about more later. I would say definitely. I just don't think there was enough time for them to form a good chemistry between Embiid, Harden, Maxey, even Green. It was just, I just don't think they had they had this great chemistry flow until everything like crashed, and then they got Harden. A lot of people in Philly are proud, they love the deal. Some people hate on us about the deal, says it's bad. Personally, me, I don't care. He's a great player. They just need to figure out the chemistry, and I think that's what went wrong. Plus, Embiid being out for 2 games because of his face, that doesn't help. So I would say, him coming back, he had a good game, and then after that, it was just was not MVP at that point. So.
Definitely. Chemistry is really needed on these teams. What happens inside and outside of the locker room definitely need to mesh together to have a winning and successful team. Let's jump into the NBA. Let's look at this Miami Heat Boston Celtics matchup. What are you thinking for this series overall, and then for the game tomorrow?
Sure. So I think what we'll do is I think the Celtics should take this series. They have a ton of experience already going into this. This is their 4th Eastern Conference final in the last 6 seasons. He has only gone 6 times in the last 12 seasons. So just right off the bat, I think they just have more experience. Getting into it with this game tonight, if you look at the lines, it opened up at -2 for Heat. That makes sense. They're favored. They're home. Total at 206. Just checked it, and I know we had chatted briefly about this earlier, and it dropped, and so now we're at that +1.5, or excuse me, that -1.5 for the Heat. And then now the total is dropped, which makes sense as well, to the 204. And so I think right now your best bet is, take the plus points, that plus 1.5. I think the Celtics will do well here. Take this team who just took out the defending champs, the Bucks. So that's already a good start right there. With the Celtics too, like they turned it on the second half of the season. They turned it on, they woke up. And that's what you see a lot with the second half of the NBA season. It can be a whole different ball game, and it really was with the Celtics. They won 9 straight in a row. Even just now, like their last game, they went 22. They set an NBA record for the 3-pointers, 22 3-pointers. You had Grant Williams, he had 27 points. Jason Tatum put up 23 points. Even Jaylen Brown had 18 points. So that was, a really good game for them. And I just think they're still on this. They're just hot. They're on this kick. It's like what we saw too a couple months ago when they won 9 games in a row. And they've just been hot. Now, if you look at some stats, I'll give you some things here. You have Boston is 20-7 against the spread when playing a team who has a winning record in the second half. Boston is holding their opponent. Boston's averaging about 114.5 points and holding their opponents to 102. Boston is also 48-28 versus good defensive teams. So we know, and that's for the last 3 seasons. So as we know too, Boston's ranked 1, Miami's in 4 right now for their defensive scores. So I would say right now with this, I was getting Boston's averaging about 109. Their opponents are around 105. So Miami, again, just not great. Like Boston in general is not good. They're bad. They're bad with drawing fouls. So with Miami playing against teams who are terrible at drawing fouls, you're looking at 18-19 against the spread in home games alone with that terrible fouling. So that was something that was over the last 2 seasons. And again, Miami is 2-10 against the spread for the second half of the season with teams who are terrible at fouling. So that's one good bonus with the Celtics, who are bad at fouling. This game alone, obviously the Celtics' goal is like, okay, we have to take down Jimmy Butler. So, they're going to deploy like a high switch defense. Like I said, they're rated number 1. Their defense rating is number 1. You have the Heat, who's ranked number 4. And so I don't think Jimmy Butler's really going to be a problem for them. Maybe not in this game, maybe not for this game, because Heat's going to sit way back. Let's see who they're starting, and then who are we going to get to cover. I really think right now, and that's the thing, I think right now what we're going to see is probably Marcus Smart be assigned to Jimmy Butler. That's my guess right there. And that makes sense to me because he is the defensive player of the year. So I don't have any reason why Celtics should not win this game. And, as we were talking about the Sixers earlier, yes, the Heat took out the Sixers. However, they were missing Embiid for the first 2 games. And, like I said, this is going to be a very defensive scoring game. Or excuse me, this is going to be a very defensive game. It's going to probably lead to low scoring. Yeah. Usually with the Sixers, they average 114 points per game. The Heat did hold them 5 out of those 6, held them under their average. So I just think tonight, if you guys want to go with that total, take the under. I like it. But for now, I definitely am riding with the Celtics.
Yeah, I hear you on that under. I definitely think we have a super strong defensive game. Whoever's defense shows up more is going to get this win, and the Celtics could pull it off. They're 13-6 against the spread in their last 19 meetings in Miami. They have played strong on the road there. So it's going to be one heck of a battle. I think it comes down to whoever has his ball last. And if it's a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer, that determines the spread here. I really do. I think it's going to be that tight to that very end buzzer. So
yeah, and that's one thing too. Yeah, and that's one thing when you see a line like that and you have the spread, it's usually between that -2 and let's say even if it goes and Heat becomes the underdogs at +1. Anytime, and then you're pairing that with a low scoring game. I really do agree. I think it's just going to stay under. And they held Sixers 6 games. They played 5 of those games. They held the Sixers way under their average. So it was not just at the average. It was under like at least 10 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're in for a phenomenal game, and I wish you all the best in your bets in this game and all of your bets overall. Where can people find you to get your sports betting bets?
Thank you, Joe, and I wish good luck to you as well with your
Thank
games
you.
today. And you can find me right now at Ann Shorr on Twitter. I'm great on Facebook, so find me on Facebook. Same thing, Ann Shorr. If you are interested in coming on with me as a client, you can reach out to me. I do have 2 private Facebook groups that I will bring you into. So feel free to reach out, send me a message. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of.
Okay, guys, go give Ann Shorr a follow. Definitely worth it. She has been killing the books over there. Ann, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate your time today. I will definitely have to do it again.
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been
Thank
great.
you, Ann. Have a wonderful day. You guys,
You
I will
too.
be back later with an announcement, so stay tuned. Bye.